Comenzaremos el trabajo de hoy con la presentación del panel que hemos denominado Campeones del Océano.
Ocean conservation is important to me and the Waite Foundation because it's one of the biggest crises of our time. It's a food security issue, it's a human security issue, it's a national security issue, and it's an environmental crisis. We've depleted our oceans to a point where they're in danger of not recovering. But the reason that we're tackling this issue and we've devoted the vast majority of our foundation resources to it is because it's a problem we can fix. We support ocean conservation in many forms. First, primarily through direct grants from the Waite Foundation to NGOs, primarily who are creating large marine protected areas through people like the National Geographic Pristine Seas. These are places that are the last few pristine places left that we have to save. We do many other things as well. We have the Waite Institute, which is an operating foundation, which does marine spatial planning or ocean zoning in small coastal communities that have already depleted their ocean resources. And they're desperate for help to bring these back because their livelihoods depend on the food and the resources they get from the ocean. So we're helping them zone and really develop proper fisheries and coastal management so those resources can come back and can pay benefits for generations. I mean, what we're hoping to achieve through ocean conservation is really restoring the oceans to full productivity so they can be sustainable. It really starts with awareness, it starts with communication, it starts with changing behaviors. It's not all about money, but money helps. It helps if you put it to work in the right ways with the right people. Nobody, no one person, no one entity is going to save the oceans. But together we can save the oceans. If we try to be the heroes all by themselves, it's not going to happen. But if we work together, we put our egos aside, we pool our resources, we all have different pieces of experience. Some technical, some scientific, some philanthropic, some policy-wise. Let's work together and fix this problem.
A continuación, invitamos a subir al escenario al señor Andrew Sharples, director ejecutivo de Oceana, quien moderará el panel Campeones del Océano.
I'm very pleased to be able to introduce to all of you this morning 6 ocean champions. We're going to start with a message from one who's not with us today, but let me quickly tell you who's on the stage with me here, and of course I will introduce them as their turns come. After our video message is going to be David Rockefeller Jr., who is the founder of Sailors for the Sea and the chair of the Rockefeller Foundation. Then Leonor Varela, Chilean actress, environmental leader. Then Antha Williams, who's the head of the environment program at the Bloomberg Philanthropies. Then J. Charles Fox, known to many of us as Chuck, director of Oceans 5, and Ann Earhart, who's the chairman of the Marisla Foundation.
Our next presenter is David Rockefeller Jr., who is the founder of Sailors for the Sea and also chairman of the Rockefeller Foundation. David.
Thank you so much, Andy. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to spend time with you in this great nation of extraordinary longitude and spectacular marine boundaries. And as one of the lucky sailors who has made it around Cape Horn upwind from east to west, I frankly feel lucky to be standing before you. There are 3 institutional connections to the oceans which I am proud to have developed in recent years. First, following my service on the Pew Oceans Commission ending in 2003, I was motivated, as Andy said, to found Sailors for the Sea, an NGO based in Rhode Island whose aim is to convert recreational boaters into an army, no, a navy, of ocean conservationists. Now, 11 years later, we are reaching 2,500 boaters every day, from windsurfers to mega yachters, and our goal is to reach 1 million boaters worldwide by 2016. We have also offices in Japan and Portugal, and we seek partnerships with recreational boaters and marine organizations around the world. Sailors for the Sea was, by the way, the fiscal agent for the film A Sea Change, the first, I believe, feature documentary on ocean acidification. And can you believe that neither the Pew nor the U.S. commissions mentioned the word acidification in their reports only 12 years ago? So we've come a long way. Secondly, I am proud to say that my wife, Susan, an award-winning filmmaker and designer, is here as a board member of Oceana, which we happily support in their efforts to rationalize fisheries management worldwide, and much more. We will continue to assist Oceana in raising millions of private dollars in support of our living oceans. And we especially admire your leadership, Andy, as well as your vision and tenacity. And a special word of thanks to Alex Munoz, Vice President of Oceana for Chile, the island magician. And to Ann Earhart and the Marisla Foundation for supporting Oceana and sailors in such generous measure. Thirdly, I am here representing the Rockefeller Foundation, which has invested over $11 million since 2012 to test innovations that improve the resilience of marine ecosystems and the livelihoods of the communities that depend on those resources. The Foundation's work focuses on market-based interventions that can catalyze a significant shift toward more socially and environmentally responsible fishing. For example, through our support, Fair Trade USA was able to launch the first ever Fair Trade certified seafood product, a frozen tuna steak, in over 1,500 Safeway stores in North America this past summer. Fair Trade certifies that fish are caught responsibly while providing a financial benefit directly back to fishers from the premium they capture for a fair trade product. Another example is our work to attract impact and private capital to responsible seafood businesses led by Encourage Capital and supported in partnership with the Bloomberg Philanthropies Vibrant Ocean Initiative. Thank you, Antha. Encourage has designed several investment blueprints to show investors that it is possible to invest in business models that deliver triple bottom line returns. These blueprints focus on transforming both Chile's artisanal and industrial fisheries and the many tens of thousands of people who depend on these resources for their livelihoods. The Rockefeller Foundation is exploring how to scale models like fair trade or blueprints that use the pull of the market to build a responsible seafood industry. As chairman of the Rockefeller Foundation, I heartily endorse these initiatives and will do all that I can to encourage and support their continuation. The importance of our oceans for feeding protein to the world's hungry people cannot be exaggerated, nor can one overemphasize the importance of the oceans economically to all those who depend upon them for their livelihood. The fishers, the marine transport operators, the coastal tourism workers, and so many others. It is vital that conferences like this one help educate the world about what is at stake and what we need to do to protect both the living oceans and those who make their livelihoods from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. I think everybody here who knows the astonishing record of your family in improving the world in dramatic ways across so many arenas takes a moment of great hope and confidence from your arrival on the ocean. agenda. We're very, very inspired by that. I want to call out that we have been joined by HSH, the Prince of Monaco. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Our next ocean champion is somehow conveys that in your reality as well as in your many roles on the screen. Leonor Varela, thank you for being here.
Good morning, Your Royal Highness Albert. It's a true honor to be part of this panel and this conference in such excellent company. I must say, speaking about philanthropy is a passion of mine, and all Anglo people, please forgive me because I will continue this in Spanish. After all, my country is hosting this conference, and I speak better from my heart in Spanish, and that's what I intend to do. It's pretty much the only thing I know how to do.
Español realmente es lo que mejor puedo hacer.
Sueña con ese horizonte infinito, con la inmensidad
A girl
de lo que está frente a ella,
watches the
con
sea.
todo lo que puede
She
haber debajo de esa
dreams with
hermosa
that
masa azul.
immensity and everything that could lie
La música
beneath
terrorífica de
that
Jaws
blue
suena en mi
mass.
cabeza,
Joswell's
y acelerando mi
music
corazón,
resounds
un
in my
ritmo
mind,
alocado,
and
pero
this
la
crazy
atracción de esa
beat,
inmensidad
but the
en
attraction
movimiento
of that
es más fuerte
immensity
que el
and
miedo,
movement
y paso
is
a paso
greater than
ella se
fear.
adentra en el mar,
Step by
para
step,
dejar flotarse, para dejar
she
flotar
enters
en
the sea
contenerse a su cuerpo,
and
con
floats
solo el distante eco de las
with a
criaturas
distant
marinas y las
echo
olas que
of
la
marine
enamoran.
creatures
Tanta
and
paz,
the waves. So much
tanta
peace,
vitalidad.
so much vitality.
La sensación de
The
pertenecer a algo
feeling of
infinito.
belonging to something that's
Como podrán
infinite.
imaginar, esa
As you
niña
can
soy yo.
imagine, that
Una niña
child
y hoy
is
una
me,
adulta
then
que
a
siempre amó
girl,
estar
today an
cerca del mar.
adult, that has always loved to
Para
be
mí
near
ese
the sea.
compromiso
For me, that
por cuidar el mar
commitment
chileno,
to care for
ahora ya de
Chilean
grande,
sea, and now
existe por
as
esa
an
razón, por
adult,
ese amor.
that is why
Porque desde que tengo
I'm
recuerdo
here,
siempre fue un lugar de
because
sanación,
since I
de
can remember,
regeneración.
it was always a place
refugio para mí.
for
Aprendí a surfear de grande y
spirit
como se podrán imaginar,
and
eso no es
shelter.
nada fácil. Pero estar ahí sola en la
But
tabla de
being
surf me
there,
trae
alone on my
al momento
surfboard,
presente y lo reconozco
brings
como
me
el
back
mismo
to the
amor, la
present,
misma
which
sensación
I
que me da estar
recognize
con
it
mi
as the
hijo.
same love and feeling
sensación que me lleva
that
de
I
golpe
get
para el
when I'm with
presente,
my children, that
aquí,
brings me
en el
back
ahora.
to the present, the here and
El nombre de
now.
esta conferencia,
The
Océano,
name
deja en
of this
evidencia el
conference,
hecho
Our
irrefutable que
Ocean,
hay un solo océano,
shows
más
that
allá
there
de
is
los
a
límites
single
como
ocean
hemos puesto como
far
país
beyond
históricamente.
the limits that
Yo
we
veo en
have
eso un
placed as
reflejo de
countries,
una
and I
realidad
see in
que
this a
seguramente
reflection of
encierra
your
parte de mi
reality
fascinación
that
por el mar.
surely has to
Porque
do
en
with my
verdad
fascination for
somos
the
un
sea, because the truth
Una
is
frase
we are
un poco
one,
New Age, es
a
cierto,
somewhat
pero
New
más y más
Age phrase that
tangible
is
para
true,
nuestros
but
ojos.
each day more
Lo que
tangible
yo hago
for
te
our
afecta a
eyes,
ti
and what
y
I
viceversa.
do affects
Verdad
you,
universal que
and
no
the other way
podemos seguir
around, a
ignorando.
universal truth that we
No
cannot
podemos seguir
continue
viviendo
to
de manera
ignore.
aislada.
We cannot continue to
Porque
live
si
in
queremos sobrevivir
isolation,
como
because if
raza
we want to
y aún
survive
más
as a
heredarle
race
como
and
mundo
even
mejor
more,
a nuestros hijos,
give this
tenemos que
legacy
cambiar de
to our
actitud.
children, we must change our
Creo que
attitude.
personalmente
I
eso
think
es
that
lo que me impulsa
personally
la
that is
filantropía,
what
entender que estamos
moves me toward
todos
philanthropy,
conectados,
understanding
como diría
that
mi
we
padre,
are all connected,
tal
as
como
my
el agua
father
del
would
océano.
say, just like the water in the ocean.
Ahora quiero llevarlo de regreso
I
al
would now like
2010,
to bring you
cuando una
back to
termoeléctrica había
2010,
sido aprobada
when
para
a
ser construida en
thermoelectricity
Rincones, en
plant
región de Liguera,
had been
en Chile.
approved to be built in Rincones in Chile, Barrancones in Chile.
Lámina animales.
There it is.
Este lugar se llama
This
Punta de
place
Choros
is called
y
Punta de
tiene una
Choros
inmensa y hermosa
and has an
diversidad marina, donde
immense
viven
and
500
beautiful
especies
marine
marinas,
diversity with
entre ellas
500 marine
120
species,
especies de aves,
including
incluyendo el famoso
various
pingüino de especies, 68
bird
especies de
species,
peces y una especie
68
de
fish
mamíferos marinos.
species, marine mammals,
la
and
ballena azul.
including the blue whale.
Oops. Thank you, Albert. I'm trying. I'm going forward. There are the penguins. Okay. Los pingüinos de Humboldt,
The
la hermosa
Humboldt
ballena
penguins,
azul
the beautiful blue whale,
y el hermoso.
and the beautiful
Fondo marino.
marine
Bueno,
bottom.
como sabrán, la
As you
termoeléctrica
will
de carbón es
know,
energía barata
the
y entendiblemente
plant
atractiva para un país
provides
en desarrollo como
low-cost
Chile.
electricity, which is
Pero el
of
costo
course
de impacto
attractive
en
for
el
a country
ambiente
such
es
as Chile.
altísimo.
But the impact of this on the
Y voy
environment
a pasar por
is
esto rápido,
very
porque sé que
high.
ustedes ya lo
I am
saben,
going
se
through
suena
this
millones de
quickly.
litros de agua,
It
litros de
sucks
mar
up
por hora,
millions of
arroja la
liters
misma cantidad de
of
agua al mar a
seawater
alta
every
temperatura,
hour
emiten metales
and
pesados como el
pushes
mercurio.
back the
Son
same
una gran
amount of
fuente
hot
de
water back
CO2.
into the sea, a
Hablamos
major
mucho de
source
la
of
acidificación del
CO2,
océano, como
what
ya se sabe,
we've
por sus
spoken such a
fuentes,
lot
y emiten
about,
dióxido de azufre,
ocean
material particulado.
acidification, and also issues use particulate material. There are areas in my country called the areas of sacrifice, such as Ventana, Huasco, Coronel, Tocopilla, Mejillones. And before my eyes, it was simply not possible to somehow compromise our future in this way. That is why I took the opportunity to travel to this area with Oceana, Alex Munoz, a great friend whom I just met, and that girl that I was once, plus the adult of today, was so thrilled with this new adventure. We went to several places of the area to talk to the people, hear what the artisanal fishermen had to say, see how the children in the school learned since very small about and love the sea. And I learned much during that trip, or especially the relevance of local communities, the people who've made their home of that territory and that they love their land. Listening to them allowed us to carry out a very sound campaign that had great resonance with citizens. I never thought that we would see such an outcome. What happened during that campaign and all the efforts made to change the situation forever marked the history of our country and my own personal history as well. Twitter went live and the media joined in, and finally thousands took to the streets in support of that small marine paradise. What happened then was magical. The government, by means of a presidential decree, took a step back in relation to the Barrancones power plant. It was a very sound, undisputed triumph, and that is why the penguins and sea mammals continue there. That is why the biodiversity in that place has been preserved and that artisanal fishermen gained a little more time. When we share this history, I would like to say that I've had the privilege of being part of something that is very special. A magical place was saved merely because we cared. These last 7 years have been determinant in the history of my country in terms of conservation. Several protected sea areas were created, and it is thanks to that that Chile today is leading in relation to marine protection. We are among the few countries that have more than 10% of their marine area protected. And I would publicly like to thank the most recent governments of my country for having achieved this. It is truly remarkable. If we continue along this path of collaboration among governments, civil society, NGOs, and philanthropists such as those who are with me here today in this panel, we will continue to join in efforts to protect the oceans of Chile and the world. And that is why here and now I would like to call the entire world to action. If we in Chile, in this corner of the world, at the end of the world, we can do that, I think that the rest of the world could do far more.
If we have been able to do this, I am pretty sure the world can do better.
El mundo lo puede hacer aún mejor. I am sure that that girl I once was and that was fascinated looking at the sea will be very happy to see the pathway traveled by my country. And we know that although we're traveling a good path, there is still much to do to feel proud and secure about the future. That is the future that I hope my children will be able to live and appreciate. Thank you.